And welcome back for our card game tutorial. Today I'm gonna to save a little bit of time, so I already loaded some new images on the cards here, and I will show what I've done. I created basically I've duplicated the default animation, and now we have back and front, so I renamed both of them. For back of the card we have only one frame where I put the logo on my website and my company. Of course, you can do the logo of your card game or whatever you like. And on the front of the card we have replaced, as you can see, some drawing I did. The card number 0 as the first robot, and then the card number 1 as the second robot. When I will have more robots, of course I will replace the other cards. But now that will be fun just to show what we're going to do today. So I don't just show the process, you know already how to do all of this, so I just skip and go ahead. So first of all, we go in our event sheet of the board, and where we say in create deck, in our function that's inside our block here, triple filter. If you remember, we have this function, and we are going to disable this set animation frame to value. So basically we don't recognize anymore the card by the animation frame, but we'll give an instance variable to the card. So basically we go in cards, and then we create a new instance variable that we call robot underscore n, that stays for robot number, and I will just bring it up as the first instance variable, because this is the main variable that let us recognize which card is which. So we can just close this. By default the value is 0. It doesn't really matter. You can put -1 if you don't want to get mistaken with the animation yet, but when we create the card we're just going to replace the value straight away, so therefore it's not going to bother us much. So at the moment I leave it 0. At this point I'm going to duplicate I'm going to add the new actions here, and then set the value of the card in a robot number as instance variable to value. Okay, so when this function is called and we say, if you remember from the array of the delay, which card has to be given to the certain player, we don't anymore assign the animation, but we assign the value. So I just put under here so it's easier to recognize. I'm not going to delete this instruction here. I will leave it just for memory if you need to remember why we did all of this, but of course it's not necessary. After, you can just delete it. Okay, at this point I'm going to do a quick difference. I'm going to say first there will be two different ways to do the flipping of the card for the person that view as the full version of a construct and therefore doesn't have problem with the number of events. And also I will show one example for the people of you, for every one of you that has a limited number of events, and therefore you can be much fancy with the game because you want to learn the mechanics. So first of all, we are going to do for the person that have a free version, so you have limited amount of resources. Let's see. Okay, so at this stage we are going inside the pick card. If you remember here, we take the card and we assign all the values to the slot as well and set the position of the card. So we are not going to anymore use the animation on the frame of the card. As you can see, if I start the game here, when I pick a card, they show all the back of the cards, and the card is not flipping, doesn't change animation. So I have to go back here and add the set animation of the card, and say front, So after the card goes on the slot, it changes the animation to front, and therefore it will be showing the number or add the image if we already replace the image of the robot. We don't need to say from beginning or current frame, because the animation speed is 0, so we always show the first frame that is 0. But to say which frame we want to show exactly, we go in set card, set frame, and we say card dot robot number, so that it will be the value of the frame that we have to show. Since card animation frame will be now always 0 or whatever, depends, I can either bring this down here and change the slot after we change it, or leave it on top and replace it with the value of the card itself, card.robot underscore number. So depends where you put it. If you want to use this one, you have to put it after we change the animation. If you want to use this one here, or otherwise if you really want to leave it before, you delete this and then you use this one. So it's up to you. So this is what is necessary. If you have the free version, you have a very limited amount of lines to use for construct, and this is the result. We take a card. Now should we get a card number 13, as you can see. Now we're going to pass turn, and when I pass turn, I should get as a third card the card with the second robot we put, the orange one. 1, 2, 3. So the card is flipped but doesn't have the animation, because the animation we need to use a little bit more events. So if you have enough space on your event list, we can go on with the next step. Otherwise you have to cut short the code and use this solution I just showed to you. So let's go back to the beginning before I start to do this changing here. Okay, so if you have no problem with the amount of events for your construct version, we can use all better animation. And to do this, we create a new event sheet, and we call it event sheet cards animations. Then we're going to use this sheet only for all the cards animation we want to have in the future. And this one will be included inside the event sheet board. Right click on the background, insert event sheet. It's only this one, so it will be here. Okay, at this point I'm going to create a constant. I will do inside the cards animation, so it's easy to keep a separate thing, and I will call it card with, and give a value of 80. So basically I click here to make it constant, because this value will not going to change during the game. Basically this value is for us to remember how much wide is a card, and we see in 1 minute why we need this constant here. And we create also another global variable, and I will call it active card, and I give a starting values of -1. So this is if a card is currently in action, use its robot number value here. So this is just to us to remember which card is currently operating. So we go back now inside the pick card, and then we change, as we said before, the slot card here with the card dot robot number, and then I add at the end here system set value of active card equals to card dot robot number. So this action here, I will say when a card is put on the slot, then that card become active to do something, and this will be the action we need to use it for do the animation. So we go back inside the event sheet, cards animation, and we create another global variable, and we call it flipping speed. The value is equals to 1. This is the speed of the animation we want to have for our card. We'll see 1 minute. I will leave it as a variable. You can use as a constant if you want to change the speed during the game, maybe with the setting, with the options. Of course, if the player want to change the animation, you can leave it as variable. Otherwise, if you don't want to give this option, you can leave as a constant. No, this just depends on your design. And at this point, we are going to create a filter that says that check if there is actually one active card, and this filter runs every tick. So system compare variable active card. If active card is different from -1, means that if it's -1, there is no current active cards. But if it's something different from -1, from 0 to 2030, because we have 24 cards, then there is one card that we need actually to do some animation. In this case, we had another condition here, maybe still inside, and they say cards compare instance variable robot number if it's equal to active card. So basically now we are going to say if there is a card that is active, pick the card that has actually the current value of this active card variable. And therefore all the action that we're going to put inside now will be related only to that card and not going to mess up all the function of the other cards. So we know we're going to add a sub event, and we say cards compare animation, so it's playing. If the current animation of the card is back, so if the card is still like we pick up from the deck showing the back of the card, then we're going to say card set with equals to card dot with minus flipping speed. So what's happening here? That this is running every tick. So if your the speed of the game is 60 frames per second, every second this will happen 60 times. And what's going to do is that every tick, if the card is currently showing the back animation, of course it's only the card that is active in this moment, change the width of the card, reducing the current value of the width by the flipping speed. In this case, flipping speed is 1. Therefore, at the beginning, the width of the card is 80 pixels. Then we, at the first tick, all these conditions are met, become 80 minus 1, so therefore 79. At the second tick, the card width is 79 pixels now, and we reduce another 1 and become 78 pixels, and so on. But at one point we need to stop this because the card will become negative, and if you know, when one image becomes negative, basically it just mirror the image on the other way around, and also it will keep expanding forever the card in negative way. So we need to add another sub event and say if the card compare still the width compare with, is minor or equals to 0, then what's happening? Minus or equal because I could say equals to 0, but if you use a different speed that is not 1, you might have a result like, for example, for the speed become the width become 3 of the card, then suddenly the speed or the flipping speed is 5. 3 minus 5 becomes minus 2. So it will never happen that the width of the card is 0, and then you're going to miss this condition. Therefore, if I make 0 or less, this condition will be always met at one point. So at this stage, I'm going to say set animation to front. So basically, the card will shrink more and more and more until it becomes 0 or less than 0. At that point, the card is shrunk, sorry, and I'm going to change the animation frame. Sorry, the animation, not the animation frame. I change the animation in front. And also I'm going to change the animation frame here to the frame we want to show. In this case is card.robot number. So now the card is flipped, but its current width, it will be 0. So we actually will not be able to see anything because with width 0 the card is basically invisible. So we need to do another condition, and we can just duplicate this block here, and we change, rather than back, now it's front. So we have that at one point this condition is not anymore true, this one here, but this is still true, these two, and then this one become active because the card is in front, the animation, because we change it here. So at this point we do the opposite thing. We're going to increase the width of the card by an amount equals to the speed here, flipping speed. But we need to check that the card is not anymore larger than 80. Now, since you don't want to be specific when you do this kind of checking with let the people say magic number, they call it, because this number are value that you might change during the game creation. So you might decide that the cards are not anymore 80 pixels width. If you have this condition in different point in the game, you need to track down each one of these. That's why we're going to use constant and variable. So I just going to use card width, and therefore if I need one day to change the value of the width, it's not anymore 80 but become 85 or 120, whatever you want to do, I just going to change here the value, and we change all the condition accordingly in the game without bothering me. So that's how I'm going to use the constant. So this page we are going to say set the width to card width. Basically we are going to keep increasing the size of the card if the animation is front, but we don't want to have it larger than card width. So if the value is, in this case, 80 or more, just put the value of the width to 80, and then these two conditions, we don't need it. We are going to say set value of the very active card to -1, because now we put again the card is flipped, we change animation, the width is the original value of 80. We don't need to do anymore all these blocks. So putting this to -1, we're going to disable all this animation block, and our animation will finish. Of course, this is only one way to do the animation. You can do in many different ways. I'm just showing as usual one way, and then you can adjust as you want. Now I'm going to save. Let's try. Our game. Okay, so we have our cards. I'm going to refresh until I find some numbers for the robots, because otherwise it takes forever to wait. So until we have 0 or 1 nearby, hopefully quite soon. Okay, finally we got something here. As you can see, the second card will be card number 0 with 1 robot. Now we take a first card, and it's flipping. Slowly, but it's flipping, because this speed is every tick it changed by 1 pixel. So I have to do 80 pixel to become 0 and 80 pixel to become wide. So it's nearly 3 seconds animation. This is for the card with the robot, and it's coming quite nice. Now if you want to have faster, of course you can just go here and you go to change the flipping speed to 5, for example, and then start again. And let's see how much is going fast. See, it's not too bad. But of course, if you want to change again, no problem, you can do, you go 10 or whatever, you adjust as you want the speed. So this is just a very simple tutorial. You can do all your tests with the speed. Will be much interesting for you, of course, to adjust it according to your needs. That's it for today. I hope this was useful for you. If you course find it is useful, help me to spread the video around, because as usual, the less time I spend to spread the video around, the more time I have to bring you interesting content as a tutorial. Therefore, you really help me a lot. So of course, in addition, you can like, subscribe, hit the bell, all the usual thing. Thank you for now. I'll see you in a couple of weeks with a new tutorial for the cards. Thank you. Bye.